getting hit and hitting back, that's the essence of life. It's the essence of business. It's the essence of everything.
We're all going to fight. You're either fighting the system or you're fighting your own brain. You need to make a choice.
The whole reason God put men on this planet is to suffer. And the best men are the ones who suffered the most. I wouldn't be top G if I didn't suffer more than anyone else. You're a better man than everyone else if your life was a mess and it was a hardship, because you're not what happens to you. You are how you react to it. And the best men on earth are men who have had their parents die, their best friends betray them, their girl betray them, thrown in jail, their money stolen, stabbed, robbed. And every time something happened to them, they sat there and they looked in the mirror and said, what can I learn from this? How can I stop this happening? Those are the best men. Those are the men respect. Those are the men women want. Why do women love scars? Look, they tried to kill him and they can't. That's why I want him. The best men suffered. You find a man who's never been through suffering and nobody gives a shit about him. Men don't like him and women don't like him. Men are no good without it.
I don't know what's happened to men in the world today. They have none of this fire. Men used to wake up and walk in random directions with their friends. No Google Maps, no idea where they were going. Just walk in random directions to find people who were different to them and just conquer it. Just take it. Savages. You're supposed to have that inside of you, but enough brains to direct it in the correct direction to not end up in jail. But to wake up and say, no, I'm supposed to live a fantastic life. I'm supposed to be a king. Do you understand that me, entertain, I'm treated like a king? Restaurants don't even charge me. Oh, Mr. Tate, thank you for coming for free. I don't make reservations. I turn up. I can take anyone's girl off the table. I'm a king. How do you live as anything less? You know, I've done it. Doesn't that bother you? I say these things and there's two kinds of people. People who get angry and they're like, yeah, I need to live like that because I'm only going to live once. And then there's people who hard code. Just cope. Oh, yeah, well, you know what? You're an idiot because it's from some anon account. The copers will never get anywhere. Any of you with a brain should just be angry. Like, my car costs more than your life, your house, everything. It's not even all about money. It's about the fact that, to me, the car is nothing. It's like, whatever, cheap, quick, whatever. Who cares? I want one. To you, it's a dream that will never come true. I don't know where the savagery in men has gone. It needs to come back, and it needs to come back in the correct direction. Anger is an extremely powerful motivating force. You should be angry. Too angry to sleep, too angry to be lazy. You don't struggle with motivation when you're angry. When you're furious, you're very motivated.
Anyone who knows me will tell you, if I'm awake, I'm working. I'm awake, I'm working. From the second I wake up, I'm on my laptop till the second I go to sleep. First thing I do when I wake up is check my phone. First thing I do is I work. And if I even do anything fun, I kill all the fun because I make it work. Oh, we have to film it. Oh, get this, need this scene. Filming having fun is not having fun ever. So I make it work. So I only enjoy work. I like to work because I like to feel proud of myself. I don't want to be happy. I want to feel proud of myself. So I rest when I sleep. Sure. If I'm ultimately tired and need a few extra hours in bed every once in a while, yeah. Okay, I'll do that. But I never just have a day. Tristan, back me up. Have I ever said I need a day where I just need a day off? Have you ever heard me say I need a day off?
No.
Ever. Like I work all the time. I think I've always understood that you can outwork people.
Yes.
You can truly outwork people, and you can outwork a lot of things about yourself as well. You can outwork a lot of negative emotions. You can outwork a lot of problems in your mind. Like people sit and say, oh, I'm unhappy or I'm sad. You don't have time. How do you find the time in the day to sit around thinking about being sad? Like, you have shit to do. Like I don't have time to sit around and contemplate how I feel because I'm busy. So how do you even have time for that? I've had people sit and give me long trotes on how they feel. And I'm like, where did you even come up with this shit? How long have you been sitting around just thinking about nothing? I don't have time for it. A plane defies gravity with speed.
Momentum.
That's all it does. If a plane stops moving forward, what happens? It falls down, right? So if you can do the same thing with yourself and your mentality and your problems and everyone else around you, you can outwork everybody. So I've always understood outworking people. And I also think that it's very easy to work hard and win when you're already winning. It's hard to get there. It starts off harder. It's harder to find a way to make money and work all the time and deal with all the bullshit and be at the bottom of whatever industry you're in and not have any reputation, whatever. But if I were to say to all of you right now, for every minute you body spar, you get $1,000. I guarantee we'd still be out there right now sparring. Everyone would be like, all right. So like, once you get to the point, like in my position where I know if I put the time in, I'm going to win, then how can I stop now?
Why do some men do what they do? Why did Elon decide to put rockets in space instead of just retire? He was rich after PayPal. Why?
That's fair.
Why did Alexander the Great need all that land? Why did men go to the Antarctic to try and cross the icy, barren, empty plains and freeze to death to just be the first men who did it? Why do that? You can't even put it on Facebook back then. Who gives a shit? Some men are built different, sir. Some men want to do it because it hasn't been done. And that is the reason why. They do not need much more motivation than the fact they will be first. There isn't much motivation to get on a rocket and be the first man on the moon because the probability is you're going to die or get stuck up there and never make it back. Or even if you do go and you do come back, half the people on earth won't believe you went at all. So why would you do that unless you're just that kind of guy? The fact that you will say to me, but it puts a target on your head shows me that God will never, ever give you my position of influence because along the way, you will have so many chances to be which you will take, which will prevent you from ever getting to my echelon of capability and influence and power. Because if I gave a about having a target on my head at all, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And I wouldn't have the ability to do the things I can do.
That's fair.
So I don't care. I'm doing it because it must be done. There's an opportunity for it to be done, and I can do it better than anybody else.
Your mind and your body and your soul created by God have a degree of innate understanding of what's right and what's wrong. And if you go against that, you're going to feel guilt and you're going to feel shame and you're going to feel uneasy and you're not going to feel normal. If you're going to go through life and accept all the garbage they tell you to put inside of your brain, I don't believe you can be happy that way. I don't believe you can be a happy individual walking around pretending that blue is green, pretending that green is red, like staying in your house, being fearful, being afraid, hating your fellow man, believing in these narratives that there's no way you can ever get ahead because you're systematically oppressed and held down by some whatever. And if you absorb all this crap, you're going to be an unhappy person. So I think that either your mind is right and you're happy and you're resisting against the matrix, or you're an unhappy person who's absorbed the matrix programming and you're resisting against yourself. We're all going to fight. You're either fighting the system or you're fighting your own brain. You need to make a choice. Now, I personally would rather fight the system than sit inside of a self-destructive cycle looking at myself in the mirror. Yes, I need my 8th injection. Yes, I'm so sad. Like, that sounds worse to me than being canceled. So you can cancel me. But this battle's here for everyone. And I think if the world understood that and if people understood that, a lot more of them would stand up. Mm-hmm. But they think they can avoid it and they can't.
Everyone's obsessed with the positive experiences, but nobody is chasing any kind of negative experience, which is why, I chose fighting, right? Yeah. But I believe every man should be choosing to do something which is extremely hard, which they hate, which sucks because you don't appreciate life at all without it. The reason people are taking so many drugs, for example, the reason people chase higher highs all the time and the reason they're constantly taking drugs and trying to and drink more alcohol and chasing higher highs all the time is because they don't experience any lows. Mm-hmm. So you always want a higher high, but I promise you the high you're at is fine if you balance it with a little bit of low. If you bounce down there for a week and come back to where you were, you're good. Constantly chasing higher highs is hedonism, which ends in one place. Mm-hmm. It always ends in a downward spiral, right? And butt sex, like the whole city of LA.
You're obsessed with butt sex.
Well, hey, bro, it's your city. So you need to stay away from constantly chasing those things. You need to artificially manufacture some lows. I chose fighting because fighting will do that for you. It's hard. It's stressful. You're worried. You train all the time. You're exhausted. You win. You lose. You get hurt. You go hospital. There's a lot of negatives in it, but there's not enough negatives in men's lives today. But you're asking me about jail as if it's a good or bad thing, or if I'm worried about going back. But to me, all experiences are on an even level playing field. Whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, it doesn't matter. There's experiences and then there's comfort. And it doesn't matter if you're a good experience or a bad experience. As long as you're on the experiences side, I'm happy for you. Mm-hmm. My father died, which was a negative experience, but you learn a lot from it. It was an experience. It was a period of life where I was learning and growing, as was jail, as was sitting in the Bugatti meeting, as was buying a jet, as will be conquering the crypto space, as will be getting fucking stabbed when he finally gets hold of me and I can't block it with my hand. That's life.
Every time something bad happens to you, you are your most competitive if you are motivated by it, right? So getting hit and hitting back, that's the essence of life. It's the essence of business. It's the essence of everything. So absolutely. So sparring is a fantastic way to put it out, but also in every single thing that happens in your life, whenever anything bad happens to you, you can be motivated by it. Tristan said in jail, he quoted the Count of Monte Cristo. Was it 13 years in the Chateau d'If? Then the world is mine. So he's saying, we got hit, we got thrown in jail. And the story of the Count of Monte Cristo is a really long story, but he gets thrown in jail unfairly. He comes out of jail, becomes one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world, and then gets loads of revenge on all the people who put him in jail. And Tristan kept saying, 13 years in the Chateau d'If, because he spent 13 years in jail, and then the world is mine. So even when we got hit with a Matrix attack, it excited us. We're like, they put us in jail, but now everyone talks about us. Okay, we'll get out one day. 10 years, 5 years, one day we'll get out. How do we take that attention? How do we monetize it? How do we become bigger and better? The people who have attacked me are furious. They made me more famous than ever before. So when we even were in jail, when bad things are happening to us, we were literally sitting there planning. Cool. What's going to happen when we're out? Fine. We're going to have a bunch of interviews. I need to be on point. I need to be sharper. Give me a dictionary. I need to learn new words. What's going to happen if we're going to bring this unfortunate clip up? What am I going to say? What's going to happen if they try to attack me from this angle? You have to plan and you have to fight. You have to be excited by it. So getting hit by things, you can either go, I got beat up. It's so hard. I'm in jail. I miss my family. Or you can go, okay. Give me all the time I need to prepare for my counterattack, my revenge. I'm just getting started.
I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read. And it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc. And the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And they said stress was really bad for them. They were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's good. Yes. Like that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel and the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. Yeah. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they've been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. And they don't understand that bad things happen to everybody. And the most successful person you know had all those probably, maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So
I'm happy for all of it. Jail, Matrix attacks, everything. But I just look around me at all these other men. They have no savagery about them. There's no conqueror spirit. Nothing. Genghis Khan had the whole world and still wanted more. As did the Romans, as did the British. Like the days of old, nothing was enough. The world was not enough. All of it. Everything. That's how I function. I see people like, oh yeah, I've got a BMW. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. I could buy 100 new cars today and I still would be like, nah, should have bought 101. You can be very happy and also extremely discontent. I know my life is perfect objectively. I'm realistic to know that I've got one of the best experiences on the planet. I understand that. But I'm also waking up every day on fire, to get more, which is how I got here in the first place. Lacking motivation is just lacking the basic masculine essence of a conquest. Which means you were born to be conquered. Because you're either conquering or you're conquered. There's no in-betweens in this reality. You're either going to end up a peon in someone else's empire or you're going to forge your own. Or you can unite with a band of brothers and be a knight or a nobleman within a brotherhood, which is genuinely conquering Earth. Or Tristan, he'll say, oh, Andrew's the top G, fine. But I am the number 2 in command of a huge, vastly wealthy empire. I just don't understand. And I'm saying this randomly as I'm driving. I just look into the cars of people around me and they're just so cucked. I don't understand how they're living these existences. And even worse, if you're that cucked, if you're that happy with the baseline medium, if you're that happy with the norm, you can't compete against the outliers. Outliers are always going to wake up and say, I'd rather lose everything than not have everything. I can't live this mediocre existence. I'd rather lose everything I have in pursuit. Get rich or die trying. How can you outcompete that man? His mind is there. He's ready for all eventualities, for exceptionalism, an exceptional reality. If you ever find yourself struggling with motivation, you need to understand that you're broken as a man. Men don't struggle with motivation. That's one thing men don't struggle with. Because a man is never happy. He's never content. He's constantly looking to conquer and take over and get more and more and more.
Why did Christopher Columbus get on a boat? I don't know. You tell me.
Valid.
Maybe he should have just sat at home with his money, getting jobs, having sex, and no, have kids. Don't take any risks. Don't put a target on your head. Why do that? You could just have sex and stay home. You could have sat around having a degenerate hedonistic life and nobody would fucking remember his name. Or perhaps he thought, fuck it, I'm going to risk my life and do something different. The target on my head doesn't cross my mind. I don't care. If you're going to work. If you're going to chill, then chill. You don't want to be a dim light that's half on. You want to do one or the other. Now, I find chilling and relaxing, I guess this is my personality, it makes it easy, extremely stressful. There's nothing more stressful for me than trying to not do my work. Because if I'm not doing my work, then I'm thinking about the work I'm supposed to do, and I'm more stressed than doing the work. So everyone goes, Andrew, you need to just chill. I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like the most stressful situation to be in. So all I want to do is work, right? But if you're going to do something, you should be doing your absolute best at it. What's the point in doing anything if you're not going to do your best at it? Right? And it's amazing how things can translate, right? If you do your best in one thing, it's not only the fact that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, but if you do your best in one thing, it can radiate out across your entire life. That's the greatest thing about being a man. As a man, when you upgrade your life and you become a better man, by extension, you automatically improve the lives of all of your friends, of your woman, of your children, of your community, of your country. We radiate. It's amazing. You can put a little bit more effort in bed with your girlfriend, make her a little bit happier. She'll then cook your breakfast, gives you a little bit extra time to work. Before you know it, you got a Bugatti. Boom. That's how I got mine. But putting in that extra effort pays off, dividends. And you can look at it spiritually. You can be philosophical about it and say that God rewards people who try hard. That's how I like to see it. God is literally looking at all of us, no matter which God you believe in, and he's saying, all these people I've created, who's thankful? Right? Because any one of us could have lost our eyesight to bacteria at age 2. Any one of us. And we didn't. So he's saying, who's thankful enough for what they have that they're trying their absolute best with it all of the time? Because if you do that, he's like, I like this guy. I like him. He's cool. Give him blessings. Give him something. It's amazing what comes your way. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm extremely difficult on myself. And I will say right now, the only thing I've really tried my best at is to stay out of jail. And that's not because I'm afraid of jail. That's because I know my haters are going to seethe when I walk. That's my motivation. If someone were to say to me, Andrew, if you make an extra dollar or if you throw an extra punch, endless blessings will come your way, it would be disingenuous for me to sit and say I couldn't do that.
For me, what I decide what's true and what isn't is the things that allow me to become most competitive. Depression is not real because that allows me to become more competitive. I don't give a shit what paperwork you pull out your ass and which depressed person or psychologist comes in here and tries to explain to me how depression works. I'm more competitive if I don't believe in it, because then when bad things happen to me, it doesn't cross my mind that I might catch depression. It is not even an idea in my me and Tristan are in jail. Everyone's depressed. We're smoking cigarettes and dancing around. We can't be depressed because we don't believe in it. So I'll only adopt ideas that make me hyper competitive. And sometimes that's going to make you very humble. Sometimes it's very competitive to think, shit, I might lose here. Sometimes competitive to be delusional and think you can't lose. If you corner me and there's no way out but to fight and 10 men are going to try and kill me, I'm going to believe I can win. Delusional, maybe, but it makes me most competitive. That's what I believe. I've decided. My brain works that way. Which mindset is the most competitive? Which mindset is the most useful to me right now? Which emotion is the most useful to me? I change emotions. We can all change our emotions if we really want to. You could all think yourself sad. You could all think yourself happy. Everyone can do it, but people take too long to do it. You need 10 minutes. Get good at it. Give yourself a few seconds. And then you have to decide which emotion puts me in the most competitive state right now. And you'll often find that happy is not one you choose very often. It's not a competitive emotion to be happy. Oh, I'm happy. Then you don't get shit done. I like to feel proud all the time. I like to feel, proud is certainly my favorite default emotion. I like to be proud of what I've done and who I am and what I have. Proud is what I always revert to, which allows me to be competitive. I don't have time to think anything that isn't competitive. Anything that makes me non-competitive to me is not true. So I know exactly what you're saying. I could argue that there are universal truths to the universe, and there are. But if we're going to accept the mind frame that we all live in our own truth, which I guess is the way the world's going, because then your truth needs to be, okay, which mindset, which belief makes me the most competitive, fearsome individual? And then you should adopt that, and then you should be as successful as humanly possible.
There's no light without dark. I think the ancient Chinese nailed it when they put the yin and yang together. You have the black and the white, and they flow into each other, and there's a little bit of white in the black, there's a little bit of good in the evil, and there's a little bit of evil in the good. And if life is perfect all the time, you don't appreciate anything. I actually think one of the worst lives you can have is a life where everything goes right all of the time. If you're spoiled to that degree, especially as a man, as soon as you reach any kind of difficulty, you're going to crumble.
Somebody said to me before, they lack energy and they lack motivation. And I said, nobody lacks energy and motivation. You just focus it in the wrong directions. I would guarantee if you find a person who lacks energy and motivation, he's trying to get girls all day, he's messaging girls on Instagram all day who ignore him. I guarantee he gets road rage when somebody cuts him up. No, you get angry and you have energy and you have motivation when somebody pulls in front of you in traffic or when you see some on Instagram, but you don't have motivation to do anything else. You don't lack energy and motivation. It's pointing in the wrong direction. We all have an innate energy inside of us. We all have a life force. And most people are just directing it in the wrong direction completely. And that's why we're getting decimated in real time. The Matrix has come along and it's distracted us all with bread and circuses. And I refuse to do it. I refuse to sign up to things that don't directly benefit my life or benefit the future for my children. I don't think if a sports team wins, it's going to benefit the future for my children. And I don't think if I jump up and down like a fucking ketamine taking peasant in a concert, it's going to benefit my children. You have 10 years left to save your bloodline from eternal slavery. And you lack motivation? You are born to lose, sir. You are a loser. All of your ancestors who fought saber-toothed tigers should have just laid down and died because they fought their best for you to be born so you can jack off to Pornhub during the last few years where you stand a chance to save your last name from eternal serfdom. You are and you deserve to be poor. The last thing you should lack in the mess of the world today is motivation, because you are running out of time. And I'm telling you as a rich man who made it out, I can see the gap is closing. I can see it. So you should certainly see it. I'm above in the clouds, looking down on the hole closing in. You're down below, looking up, watching it close, and you lack motivation to build a ladder. Oh, well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe government will save me. Maybe if I vote for the liberals, they'll give me money. Slave minds, clowns, fools. The last thing you should lack in the world today is motivation, because truly people are running out of time. when you want to explore all the levels on the map of life. You don't just want all the levels at the top. See, this is the mistake most people make. They sit there in a normal life and they dream of being rich and going on nice vacations and dream of all the nice things. They don't dream of all the bad things. They think they can have all the light with none of the dark. That's not how it works. The only reason you appreciate being rich is because you were poor. If you were born rich, you don't appreciate it. The only reason you appreciate being in good health is because you were once sick. When you're sick, you'll do anything to be healthy. If you've never experienced sickness, you don't know what health is. There is no light without dark.
So I've had to get up a bunch of times. And I do not pray for an easy life. I pray for a difficult life with difficult challenges to solve and being strong enough to handle them. I've never tried to make my life easier. In fact, quite the opposite. And I think that life is going to continue along this way. If you really want an exceptional life and to do exceptional things, you can't only hope for the positive exception. So if you want the highs, you have to accept the lows. And I want the highs. I want to make sure my human experience is as varied as possible. So I've had to get up thousands of times, and I'm sure I'll have to get up thousands of times more, but I know me as a person, and I know I'll never stay down. So I'm unafraid.
Well, I think that envy is designed to motivate, but the Matrix has taken envy and it's corrupted it. So I've told this story on other podcasts before, but I've been an envious person. I told this story because it was so pertinent to me about how most people don't care. I was walking to school. I was walking to sixth form college in Luton. I was 16, 17 years old. And I used to have to walk about an hour each day to school, and it was raining, and I was walking. And I was walking with three of my friends in a Ferrari. It was an F430, I think, pulled up at the...
That was my first Ferrari, that one.
Yeah. Pulled up at the lights, made a bunch of noise, and I was standing there, and I watched it, and then the light went green, and he just tore off. I said to my friends, I was like, bro, how do we get Ferraris? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, my mom is on a council estate, single mother. She raises 3 kids on 300 pounds a month. We can barely afford food. He has 200 grand for a car. Liquid for a car. Something is broken. None of the teachers at school have Ferraris. None of our university professors have Ferraris. No one else I know has a Ferrari. What do we have to do to break the matrix and find the money? This is all a lie. I want a Ferrari. And my friends were like, don't know. That's why I have
wrong friends.
Well, no, that's why I have Ferraris and they don't. That's why I now have 33 Ferraris. Because I was envious. I was envious of this man. Most people don't care.
But you turned envy into learning how to figure it out.
Well, I turned envy into anger, and anger is power. But what we have people doing now, because they don't believe in themselves, because the matrix has dampened their soul, when they feel envious, because they want to level the playing field, which is all envy is. Instead of trying to elevate themselves, they try and drag others down. So when people look at my life and they're envious of me, what they should say is, he's truly from the most humble possible socioeconomic beginnings. He is a person of color, from a council estate, a single mother household. He's at the bottom, and he made it up to the highest echelons. He's on the phone with Elon Musk and is a billionaire. If he can do it, I can do it. But they don't believe in themselves, so what they do instead is, well, I want to level the playing field, so I got to drag him down. So envy, when you're trying to drag others down, it's just laziness. Because you feel envious, but you don't have enough fire about yourself to go out there and attack the world and equal the playing field with vigor. So you want to equal the playing field by dragging someone else down. It's just laziness. Lazy people act that way. If you know good men, all they want to do is, most of the time, is work. What men who are good want to do most of the time is some version of work. Training, making money, organizing their life, getting their car clean, whatever. It's a degree of work. Women love fun. Women want fun all the time. And fun is where all the haramities appear. It's where all the negative organs appear. You're only going to get in a fight if you're going out trying to have fun. You're all like drugs and rape charges and physical violence and assassinations. This all is linked to fun.
Yeah.
If you want fun, you're dragging all this shit into your life. Wasting
getting
money.
Drunk.
Yeah. If you want to just work, you can avoid a lot of bad things. Someone goes, "Do you want to go out?" I'm like, "No. You can go. Here's the address. My team will take you. Have a great time. Go get a bunch of bitches. Go pop balls. Go do. I'm going to sit here on my computer. I'm boring. But I guess it generates millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars and millions of dollars. So if you have goals you want to achieve, I ask you, what people do you have around you? What network do you have around you of people you can sit down with and they are competent and they're not lazy and they're not stupid and they're not self-interested and they believe in the greater cause where you can work as a fraternity to achieve said goals? How are we going to do this? We now want to do this. How shall we do it? And we got it done. This is what's another thing that's amazing to me about motivation. I don't feel motivated. Newsflash. Neither do I sometimes. You're not going to always feel like doing it. You have to do it anyway because it's your duty to do it because you don't want to be a fucking loser. That's the whole point. If you felt like doing it all the time, then there would be no magic to it. The magic is that you do it regardless of how you feel. That's the whole point of it all. What do you mean you need motivation? You don't need motivation. You have a duty to not be a loser anymore because the hole in the sky is closing. Am I hard on myself? Yes. Does that benefit me? I believe so. I'm hard on myself because life is hard. I think
But could life be easier if you thought life was easy? Because isn't life what you see, not what it is?
What's the point in having an easy life? Why would I want an easy life? If someone were to say to me, do you want an easy life? I'd say, that sounds boring. I mean, did Genghis Khan want an easy life? Did Alexander the Great want an easy life? Did any of the men you can remember from history, any of the ones that actually matter, ever want an easy life? If I meet a man and he says, I want an easy life, I just want a stress-free life, I look at him and think, you're born to lose. You're born to lose, sir. You can have your stress-free life, and you can serve me my latte, and you can go off. Because you're not made to, life is war. And it's going to be stressful. And
Life isn't always war.
Of course it is. Life is war. Every single aspect of life is war. Not losing your temper in traffic on your way to a podcast is war. Trying to get a girl that the other guy wants is war. Trying to buy a Ferrari that everybody else can't afford is war. Trading is war. Fighting is war. Life is war. I see war everywhere. When I see a big, beautiful oak tree, I don't see a big, beautiful oak tree. I see a tree that destroyed all the saplings around it and crushed them mercilessly. It's war. Life is war. That's why I'm gearing up for war so heavily, because this war, when people ask me why I don't try and avoid it, I don't think most people understand that this war is coming for everyone. It can't be avoided. You're either going to become someone like me who's fighting against it, the counterculture, or you're going to buy into it and be a victim of it. I don't think any man who wakes up and accepts the garbage that the Matrix tells them, that yeah, it's okay to be depressed, that we just talked about, yeah, you should be running around doing perkies and Adderall and consuming porn and sleeping with a bunch of and yeah, go to school and get an education and get in debt and then go get a mortgage and get in debt and then 9 to 5 and just slave away and you'll be retired when you're 74. It's going to be fine. All the things they push, all the standardized mechanisms that a man's supposed to live his life by, I believe lead to crippling depression and sadness anyway. I don't think that makes anyone happy.
Let me see. Dude, how do you have so much energy?
Because I don't waste my life force. I haven't been to any stupid concerts. I don't take any stupid drugs. I'm not smoking weed like an idiot. I'm not cheering for a sports team. All of my life force is inside of me so I can master the 7 styles of Aikido and tell the conservatives they're fucking dorks.
Nerds.
That's why. They're all nerds. They're nerds. I'm full of life force. I'm the man who will struggle to the end. I'm that guy. If an alligator were to get hold of me, not only would I snap its neck, but let's imagine 20 alligators got hold of me and they got lucky and somehow managed to decimate me until the last second where I lost consciousness. I would be snapping necks of alligators. To the last second, I refuse to die. I'm that guy. I don't waste an ounce of my life force on anything that's unimportant. Ever. So I refuse to be distracted. The Matrix wants to distract me. They've identified me. They're like, Andrew Tate is a threat. He's full of power and he believes in God and he's a slick talker and he motivates people and he has a bunch of money and he's big and strong and tall and handsome and charming and interesting. He's got a Long Johnson. We have to distract this man. We have to give him something he's interested in outside of fighting the Matrix. And they're trying to come at me with all these beauty queens and these sponsorship contracts and I'm resisting it all. No, I have a mission and I'm on the mission. We're talking to the people. It must be animated. We have a job to do. We must let the people at home know that enslavement's coming for their entire life and their bloodline unless they resist. Stop watching the fucking Super Bowl. Stop going to stupid concerts and instead be motivated about your family's future. You're going to feel happy as a man when you feel respected and needed. You need a purpose. People need to need you alive. If you're the kind of man who everyone's life can function perfectly fine if you get struck by lightning, then you're not going to feel happy. You're going to feel happy when you realize that people need you. And for them to need you, you have to be useful and you have to be competent. And whether that's children or your girlfriend or your parents or anyone else who cares about you, I think living for other people is one of the most beautiful things a man can do because it gives you a purpose, a higher purpose. And most of the men out there who live normal lives do exactly that. Why do they work jobs? They work jobs for other people. They don't do it for themselves. Yeah. They don't even keep most of the money. It goes on the kid, the wife, the house, and they're taking care of others. And that's a masculine imperative God has instilled in us, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think if you're going to do that, you may as well do it for your own offspring. Who else are you doing it for? My favorite food is pride. I do, and I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I love when my woman comes to me and goes, you know what? You just fix everything. They had you in jail, man. You were supposed to be done. They're lying about you all over the MSN. They're saying you're a human trafficker. They stole all your money. They froze all your banks. Why am I on a jet with roses? Because I'm the top G. That's why. Because I'm that guy. She's like, you've just never failed. I've never seen you fail. So correct. I do not fail. So when I see somebody who doesn't have what they want, I know they haven't tried their hardest. And that's a constant universal fact. I've never seen somebody truly dedicate themselves to anything and fail. I've never seen anybody truly try and fail in history ever. So I wake up and go, let me do the math. If I never worked again, I could spend $422,000 a day for the rest of my life. I have all the cars. Do I need the money? No. You know, maybe I'll have a coffee. Let me try and chill out today. Within 22 minutes, I'm back to my laptop. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. And I can't stop myself working as a person who doesn't need money. And then there's people with no money who don't work. It blows my mind, which is why the winners are winners and the losers are losers. Losers do a little bit of work and rest. Winners work as hard as possible and worry they're not working hard enough. It's just a separation of personality types. And it's almost like you can't save these people. So am I hard on myself? Yes. Will that change? No. Life is war. Life is hard. You're supposed to be hard on yourself. Perhaps most men would benefit from being a lot harder on themselves. I think I see a lot of men coming up with a lot of excuses for permanent failure. I see it all the time. Why? I can't pay my bills today. Okay, cool. Why? Oh, you know, because it's hard. It's all just sympathy bull. I don't want to hear it. It's garbage. It's hard. It's hard for everybody, and you're gonna have to just be harder on yourself and pull it off, or fail. And don't talk to me. Bro, it's. I don't know what to say. I don't want to come across as a psychopath, but it's like life is difficult. I made this decision to be this man, and I understood exactly what it comes with. And a lot of people at the bottom see all of the benefits. They see our cars, see the private jets, they see the girls, they see the status, and they want all of that, but they don't want the negatives. And that's why they're never going to get it. Yep. Because on your way up, you're going to start getting hit with the negatives. You're going to be derailed. There's no way to get to the top without dealing with monumental levels of stress. I often say the reason a lot of people don't have the things they want is they couldn't handle the things they want. They couldn't handle the life that is required to get the things they want. They simply would get anywhere near it and start to panic and pussy out and just go on holiday and hide on a beach and delete their social media.
Give it comments.
Bro, mean comments. I've got street problems. You think I give a about mean comments from some anon? It's difficult for me to put into words how much I don't care. But there's people out there that do care. Yeah. And then they think, oh, I want to be like Top G, but you can't handle a comment on the internet. Bruv, these people are born to lose. So you have to decide. You need to look in the mirror and really make a decision. Because I think perhaps if you want to build a life, choosing your life path and knowing which life path you want to go down is going to allow you to be the most effective in the construction of that life. If you say, I can't handle that stress, I want to be somewhere in the middle, then accept it, accept the good and bad that comes with that, accept the kind of life you want to build and go do it. But don't sit there and say, I want to be Top G, I want to live this great life, and you're not prepared for war. So I said this even to a girl I was dating. I said, you're happy all the time. And I love that. Because I'm stressed.
And I'm not complaining about being stressed. I think the masculine role is to wake up stressed. I wake up stressed. I wake up and I've got a bunch to do, a bunch of people to talk to, a bunch of money to make, etc. I'm stressed. I'm not miserable, but I'm certainly concerned all of the time. I'm focused all of the time. I'm always busy. I have a lot going on. I'm never relaxed. I'm never at peace. That's not who I am as a person. I think that you're supposed to be stressed, but I actually love feeling stressed. I do best when I'm stressed. It pushes you. I've had 87 professional fights. For about 3 of those fights, for some reason, I wasn't nervous. And it really bothered me. So why am I not nervous? I like feeling nervous. I like being stressed. I fight better. I react quicker. Have you ever been jumped? Like, you get scared if someone jumps out at you? That's when you're the fastest you've ever been. Yep. So I think stress is a fantastic motivator. It's a beautiful thing. And my stress comes from the fact that I don't have enough. But is it for me? Or is it for just being able to care about all the people I care about?
If you don't have the mental control to force yourself to do push-ups or force yourself to be happy and distract yourself with something asinine or force yourself to change your own thoughts, you're going to sit there in a cycle of depression and sadness.
I think one of the only things in life you truly have control over is your state of mind. You can't even control if your heart keeps beating. It can stop anytime it wants. You can't control the weather. You can't control if the police bust your door down. You can't control if the Matrix decides to coordinate all of the media in the world to say you're something you're not. You don't have control over much, but you do have control over your state of mind and how you react to things. And I see God in all things. I see God in all outcomes and all situations. And I believe that he is the best of planners and he is giving us tests for us to learn and grow. And I never allow my state of mind to betray me. I've never lost control of my head. I've never felt depressed. I've never felt sad. I've never felt sorry for myself. I've never been able to get rid of a thought I didn't want to get rid of. And I think that we live inside of our own minds. And as long as you control your mind, you get to control your reality. So I don't think I've ever lost control. And I don't think I ever will lose control. No matter what happens to me, I'll always control my mind and control how I view it. And I view all things as a positive, no matter how negative they seem. I see the positive in everything, and I see the lesson in everything, and I see God in everything. So for that reason, I will confidently state I've never lost control, because all that we have is our state of mind, and I own mine. I have something I said in my email recently. I said, you could give the average man a brand new Ferrari and a road map and a coffee and a full tank of gas and tell him the destination, success. And halfway along the drive, he'll quit. It's too hard. No matter how well you set it up for people, they'll quit. One more. I've given you a Ferrari, a full tank of gas. I've given you the latte. I've given you a road map. I've given you a hot girl to sit next to you and play songs, do selfies. I've given you everything. Just drive the car. No, yeah, it's far. I don't have motivation. You're a loser. You are a loser. If you do not win, you lose. What do you call someone who loses? A loser. The gap is closing. The elites hate you. You no longer have sexual consent. You're a permanent criminal in the eyes of the law. They're here to decimate you and your entire bloodline. You're 22 at the height of your capabilities, the height of your energy. You heal like Wolverine. It is Friday. Are you making money? What are you doing? Oh, there's this band. I really want to see this band. And I guess you just deserve to lose, friend. I guess you're just an idiot. And I don't feel sorry for you. I guess you're just a dummy. And that's how I feel. So imagine how the elites feel. We're scum to these people. We are. I'm not a rich man. I'm just a poor man with loads of money. I'm from a Luton Council. I wear diamond watches, bro. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
I'm just a poor man with billions of dollars. But it's scary when you start to understand how all these things really work. And I don't think the average man at home understands this. And if you start to understand it all, the last thing you will lack is motivation. How can you lack motivation? How can an antelope in the jaws of a tiger say, I lack motivation? I'm tired. I'm horny. I want to jerk off. Bro, they're ripping out your throat in real time. You're bleeding out. Fight. Fight back.
Why I think I fight. Do I enjoy it? No. Do I enjoy training? No. Do I enjoy cutting weight? No. Am I nervous? Yes. Do I think to myself, what am I doing? Yes. Completely. Unfortunately, it's one of those things you're either born with or you're not. And the only way I can explain it to try and make it make any sense is that if I'm not doing something which is either extremely difficult or extremely stressful, I'm in a perpetual state of crippling boredom. I can't explain it. I see other people live their lives and they're like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend because I want to watch this movie. I think, who cares about a movie? You're looking forward to the weekend for a movie? Looking forward to the weekend to get drunk? Like, these things to me are so mundane. They mean nothing. And if I don't fight, if I'm not in a situation where I'm stressed or worried or concerned, I'm just perpetually bored. And boredom's crippling. If you're an intelligent person and you've got a good brain on your shoulders, you can't just sit there bored, you know? So most smart people take the academic route to avoid boredom. They learn, but that's never really interested me either. Although I've always been an intelligent guy and I've always done well academically, it never really interested me. And then I see people climb Mount Everest or jump off buildings or do base jumping, or the guy who jumped from space. People think, what's he doing? He's crazy. I understand. Because some people can't live normal lives. Some people cannot just function 9 to 5 office job, get drunk at the weekends. That is not for some individuals, and it's not for me. So I have to find something which keeps me physically tired enough to stop me going AWOL, and mentally tired enough. And I've chosen fighting, because without this, when I'm not in training, I wake up every day and think, okay, what am I going to do today? It's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'm bored. Everyone's at work. I'm bored. And I'll end up doing something crazy. I'll either end up drunk or on the Eurostar, or, you know, it's just a random lifestyle, because I'm constantly looking for never ending entertainment, and it doesn't exist. I think the only thing that could stop me fighting is if I had enough money to constantly entertain myself. Unless I'm a billionaire, I need something that keeps me focused and keeps me occupied in life. With fighting, I have to train twice a day, and I have to train hard. And the stress it brings in every aspect can replace fun. And my mind is occupied. It occupies me. It's the only way I can try and explain it. It occupies me. And I could never stop doing this, even if I lost 100 fights, because I'm not built to live a normal existence. I can't do it. I couldn't just have a kid with some girl and sit at home and work a little bit and relax. I've never relaxed my entire life. I don't know what relaxing is. It's just not me.
I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined. You don't feel like going through that shit on a Wednesday morning when you wake up, but you have to do it because you're disciplined. You're either a disciplined individual or you are not a disciplined individual. There's a difference between want and want. And I say this all the time. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate, but I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it. And this is the point. Because when I had nothing, I couldn't be distracted. You couldn't distract me from what I wanted. That's who I am. If I want something, I'm going to get it. I do not need to be motivated. I'm a disciplined person. If I allocate X amount of time to work, I'm going to do it. But that is the bottom line answer. It's discipline. You're going to have to work when you don't feel like working. That's how it's going to have to be, or you're never going to be anything. One of the only things in this world you can control is your state of mind. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control your health. You might get a brain hemorrhage, or you might get hit by a bus. One of the very few things in the world you have genuine control over is your state of mind. You decide if you're a disciplined person. You decide if you're a happy person. You decide if you're a depressed person. These are things that in real time you can affect in your brain. This is all you can control on earth. If you can't control that, then you're just a feather in the wind. And life's going to blow you around, and you might land somewhere good. You might land in dog shit. Nobody knows. Your state of mind is what you should be able to control. If you can't wake up and say, today I'm making some money, and actually try your very, very best, and actually stay dedicated to that task. If you can't do that, you're fucked.
Every man understands you shouldn't be complaining about things you cannot change. You have to play the cards you're dealt. To be born a certain height and then to sit there and go, what do I do? I'll tell you what you do. You become the best version of yourself, just like everyone else does. Nothing about the height is in and of itself enough value for me to be a valuable man. As a man, you build your value. You are born with the cards you're dealt. Sure, it'd be ideal. Look, I'd love to be 7 foot tall. I'm not. So it's the same argument. If you're 5'2", you need to become rich, strong, and funny, and charismatic, and interesting, and witty. If you're 6'4", you need to become rich, strong, well-connected. It's the same game. So to sit there and complain about it is asinine. All of you have a handful of instances. I don't think you understand that you could have been in a car crash at 4 years old and lost your legs. Do you have any understanding of how lucky you have been? This is pure luck. There's only luck has kept you fully able-bodied, sitting there, capable of learning and listening and becoming something. You don't really need to be that tall if you're important and rich. And when you walk in the room, you think when fucking Mayweather walks in the room, people give a shit? Fix that frame in your mind. You are viewing yourself as a short man. Stop it. Walk the fuck up and be the man.
You talk a lot about purpose, why we are created as humans and why we are here. Like, what is the purpose of life? Why have we been given life?
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. Yeah. When someone goes, oh, but I want to be happy. Why? Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important things, and important things are going to be difficult, and they're going to be hard, and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? And look at history. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and want to conquer the whole world? Why did Napoleon conquer the world? Why did Alexander the Great conquer the world? You just wake up and just say, give me this, give me that. I want all of it. Yeah. There's an army there. They're really big. We're better. It's intrinsic. You need to go and conquer. That's the purpose of life.
Do you believe that God created us? So why did God create us to struggle?
Because if you don't struggle, you don't learn. God created us to learn and understand ourselves and understand other people and understand the world. And what did I say earlier? I said that you don't learn a lesson without pain. So you have to struggle to learn anything. There's only two ways to learn things, the hard way or the harder way. If you're smart, you can learn the hard way. But in my experience, 99% of the planet only learn the hardest possible way. If you want to feel happy inside of yourself and you want to feel content and you want to feel stable inside of yourself, you need to live true to God. And I'm not saying you can't drink a little bit of alcohol or not party or not have a little bit of fun, but you have to be a good person. I don't believe in the societal paradigms in which they have tried to construct this idea of happiness. I don't believe or subscribe to the way that happy and sad is currently understood by the masses of the population. I think if you are anything less than absolutely distraught, you are happy. You're a version of happy. It's like saying gray is a version of black, right? No matter how light the gray is, you can still call it a version of black. And unless you've gone through an event, which hopefully doesn't happen too often, like the passing of a family member or something that's truly destructive and detrimental to your mindset, besides these events, which hopefully only happen a few times in your life, you should be happy. If you're not crying or paralyzed in silence due to the absolute magnitude of a detrimental circumstance or the absolute magnitude of a negative event, then you are a version of happy. So I am always happy is the short answer. I don't believe in not being happy. I don't believe in not saying to myself I'm happy. I'm always a version of happy. And this idea of chasing happiness and always being concerned and preoccupied with how happy you are is actually the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, I think, in the world today. Especially men who wake up and go, oh, I don't really feel happy, so I need to get happier. And that's how they end up down a hedonistic path of drugs or alcohol or gambling, chasing pleasure. I don't care how I feel. Yeah. I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care. I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human and that's life. So yeah, am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke? Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then that I am now. I have work to do and I will do it. It's as simple as that. Well, also there's no light without dark and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. No matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. Mm-hmm. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world, then I'm a vessel of God and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do. I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
Motivation isn't real. Everyone says this. Motivation is not real. Discipline's real. I do not feel like training, but I still train because I'm a disciplined individual. You don't get to go through life only doing the things you feel like doing. So this is down to you, my friend. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk, but you're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. You need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay a nobody.
You're tired. You don't want to work. You want to go to sleep and just relax. You do it anyway.
That is the most basic imperative of the masculine frame, which has been destroyed in real time. They are trying to convince you that you should act how you feel. You should show more of your feelings. If you feel this way, you should show it. If you want to cry, cry. What I'm saying is the reason they're trying to bring out emotionality in you is because of exactly what Myron said. Most of the time, you don't feel like doing the things you're supposed to do. But the true masculine frame throughout history was doing the things they didn't want to do, but they knew they had to do because they had honor and duty. That's what honor and duty means. Do you think the men on the Titanic wanted to stay on the fucking Titanic? No, we're men. We have to stay. We're scared, but we must. It's our duty to let the women and children on the lifeboats. Yeah. This is masculine duty. A good man controls himself. I have absolute self-control. Emotional control is absolutely and utterly important as a man. I'm saying that you need to understand as a man, there are certain principles under which you act regardless of how you feel. I can wake up in a terrible mood. Yes. I can wake up sad. I can ache. I can have a busy day, stressed, etc. I will complete the same tasks as if I woke up in a fantastic mood. I'll do the same things because how I feel has no bearing on the things I'm going to do in my day because I have duty to myself and to my bloodline. Because you think there's something wrong with you. You go, well, I lack motivation. I don't have the motivation to go to the gym. Well, here's the news flash. Neither did I. And I still did it. So now what are you going to say? Now you have no excuse, right? Yep. Oh, you're scared to get in the ring. So was I. I still did it. Scared to get in the cage. So was I. I still did it. Being a man isn't about not feeling things. It's about acting the way you're supposed to act, regardless of how you feel. We act. We're men of action. We get things done. So the world got built. All of it. All the men who built the skyscrapers felt scared. They did it anyway. You need to become a man of action. Stop worrying about how you feel and start worrying about what you're supposed to be doing. How about that?
I've always been disciplined myself because I've always lived a disciplined life. I lived in a disciplined household. Like there was no such thing as I don't want to. So even now, if I wake up and I don't want to do something, I don't need someone to tell me to do it because I'll do it anyway. I mean, who wants to run a marathon? Nobody. Who wants to do that? You just do it, don't you? Because, you know, it's the thing you're going to have to do, and you have to blood, sweat, tears. There is a version of the world where you can feel things and really not give a how you feel. Like if I feel sad, it does not change how I act.
and it does not change the things I do. If I don't feel like going to the gym, I go to the gym. If I don't feel like working, I will still work. If I wake up in a happy mood and I have a business to run, if I wake up in a sad mood, I have the same shit to do. I'm going to get it done. So where's the importance of it? It's in my mind. That's how I view it. Like, how does that affect what I'm going to do? Well, nothing. It doesn't.
Motivation in and of itself is a scam. I don't believe in motivation. I believe in discipline. I am not motivated to do the things I'm supposed to do. I don't wake up full of like joy. I have to go to the gym or that I have to work or I deal with crap. I don't feel motivated to do them. I'm disciplined. I do them regardless of how I feel. Whether I'm in the mood to do it or I'm not in the mood to do it, it gets done. That's discipline. Discipline's a real thing. Motivation is fleeting. You're never going to be permanently motivated. If you're the kind of person who can only try hard at something he enjoys, then you're going to fail.
If you truly want to win, you can't only want to win when you're happy, and you can't only want to win when you're motivated. You're competing against men like me who will perform even when it is raining, not only when the sun is shining. And if you're going to be the kind of person who can only do it in one of those scenarios, you are going to lose. You must be prepared to perform all of the time. I have a lot of people who message me and say, oh, I struggle with motivation. And my answer is simple. Then stay a loser. If you can't find the motivation to not be a loser, then I strongly recommend you just stay a loser, stay in your lane, and stay out of my way. I have no time for people who cannot find the motivation to fix themselves and fix their own lives. I've been the kind of person who will perform 7 days a week. Doesn't matter how I feel. Doesn't matter what's happened. Doesn't matter if I'm happy or sad. Things must be done. And this is the mindset you need to adopt if you want to be a winner.
I think a man should have absolutely no interest in whether he's actually happy or not. If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. I don't think happiness as an index is a healthy view for a man to have on life success. If you're waking up and going, oh, am I happy? Am I not? You're looking at life wrong. I think as a man, if you put happiness if you move it down the scale, right? And you start looking at, am I successful? Am I competent? Am I achieving things? Am I respected? If you start to look at these indicators of your life, you're going to end up being happier without actually analyzing if you're happy or not.
You have to just work. At some point you have to bite the bullet and just work.
Working harder is never going to not help. No matter what scenario you're in, working harder is never going to not help you. And it's amazing that I give different versions of the same answer for 99% of the questions I'm asked. Work harder. If you have a problem, whether you're broke, whether you're out of shape, whether your friend dies, whether your girl leaves you, whether you're depressed, whatever it is, working harder is almost always the answer. So you know what you need to do. You need to do it. And what's amazing, again, it's kind of like the antidote. If you take the antidote before the poison, then you never get sick in the first place. If you're always working as hard as possible, if you're always working your ass off and trying to be the best version of yourself every single day, then you never get sick in the first place. You're already working. You're already taking the antidote. So things can't attach to you. They can't get hold of you. Working hard is the antidote to everything. So why don't you just do it in advance? Why don't your life just become work like mine? Why don't you just dedicate yourself to a cause and get up and do what you're supposed to do every single day?
I can't stand quitters. So if you're the kind of person who's going to quit because it's hard, I don't even want your energy around me, right? You need the people who don't quit. I don't quit. Every single facet of my life is testament to the fact that I don't quit. I didn't quit. So that's the difference. When it was hard, I did it anyway. That's who I've always been. And if you don't have that kind of tenacity, you're never going to be anything. So I'm indefatigable. I do not give up. I do not get tired. I do not quit. That's what they want. That's what the enemy wants from me. They want to try and win a war of attrition. They want to wear me down and hope I quit and give up. I am not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who keeps going. And if you're truly indefatigable in life, and perspicacious, that's my favorite saying, the one I say all the time, unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. It's absolutely and utterly true. If you pay attention to the things that are happening around you and you do not quit, you will be a dangerous opponent in any realm of human endeavor. It doesn't matter what you try and do. I'm a man who lives true to God and says what he means and means what he says. And I know the things I say are good for society and good for the world. I didn't put a magic spell on anybody. The reason people listen to me is because they like what I say and they know that I'm telling the truth. That's the reason I am here. And I'm going to continue to do that. And there's nothing anybody can do about it.
I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read. And it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc. And the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And they said stress was really bad for them, they were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel, the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars. They didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because, like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they've been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody, and the most successful person you know had all those, probably maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for a life of difficulty that allows me to become a better and better person. I pray to become more competent to handle problems. I pray to put myself in a position where if the mass media machine attempts its very best to destroy my life, I can laugh and smile from my villa in Dubai. This is who I pray to become. I don't pray that nobody hurts me. I pray to be able to fight. So it's just a different mentality.
Where did that mentality come from? I know your background story. I've listened to tons of your interviews. I know the big impact, especially your father, had on your life. Was there a single, or were there a handful of pivotal moments for you where your mindset just shifted? I know you've talked before about being young and seeing people driving by in flashy cars and it annoying you and not annoying the people around you, but I'm really curious to know where the Tate mindset came from.
It's a good question. I think a lot of people build their mindsets around trying to feel good. So that's why we were talking earlier about people who want to ignore the idea of personal responsibility or self-accountability because they feel better if they pretend it's not a real thing. They feel better if they pretend everything's someone else's fault. A lot of people's mental model and how they view the world is based around them feeling as good as possible. So when you sit there and talk to somebody who has the mask on and they refuse to believe the elites are laughing at them, it's not because they can't comprehend the ideas, it's because they feel better if they don't believe that they are a clown to the elites. I feel better if this is really all innocent and it's really all about a disease. So people are basing their mindsets around trying to feel good. I have always tried to base my mindset around absolute competence regardless of how I feel. And there are certainly disadvantages to that. There are times you're going to be a lot more pessimistic, or you're going to be a lot more stressed, or a lot more, pissed off about certain things than others. Yeah, that can be seen as a downside. But like I said, I use all of those things for unlimited motivation to propel my endless upward trajectory. But if you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Good. Andrew, they took $10 million out of the bank because they canceled you. Good. Good. That's just my response. Good. Andrew, this happened. Good. Good. Now I'm really pissed. Good. This mindset I've constructed allows me to be as fearsome a competitor as possible. It allows me to be a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor, and that's the point of a mindset. Why would you have a mental model or a mentality that made you anything less? In the ultra competitive world that we've just discussing that everybody wants the things you have, why would you absorb information or construct a mental model that doesn't allow you to be as competitive as possible? I am a feared competitor in anything I do. Anyone who's up against me at anything is going to feel a degree of nervousness just because it's me. It doesn't matter what it is. If you say, look, you're going to go learn how to play piano and you're going to play against someone else who's never played piano and you're going to learn, and that guy's Andrew Tate, you're going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I can't even play piano. But part of them is going to be like, oh, not Tate. Even though I have no piano experience, because they just know me. They know my mindset. They know my determination. They know I'm stubborn. They know I don't quit. They know I'm going to win. That's just who I am. So I've constructed a mental model that allows me to be competent and to always succeed. And that's how I've come to the conclusions I've come to. And I truly, once again, don't understand how people go through the world with any other mental model. I get asked all the time, well, what do you feel? Or what about happiness or depression? That doesn't even, how I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. There are days where I'm pissed off or sad or happy. It doesn't cross my mind. It's just like, I woke up, whatever mood I happen to be in, I have things I need to do. It's a busy day. Zuby's here soon. I need to go training before he gets here. I had a meeting with the bank at 7:15 a.m. I have shit to do. I didn't cross my mind if I was happy, sad, excited. I just had to work. So, I think my mental model, to a degree, I'm certainly not a person who doesn't feel emotions, because we're all human. I certainly do. But I've never prioritized them in any regard. I haven't built a mental model that affects, I haven't put them in the middle of my mental model and then affected my actions based on how I feel for each one. It's absolutely and completely the opposite. I would love to do a podcast on a day where I'm particularly sad and a podcast on a day when I'm particularly happy. And I guarantee you wouldn't be able to tell the fucking difference. So that's what allows me to be competitive, right? Because if you're competitive, if you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the fucking time, guess what? You lose. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive. It's why I say depression isn't real. I've argued this point endlessly. And I try and explain to people, but they're not smart enough to understand that I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care. I am more competitive as an individual if I don't believe I can become depressed. So I don't give a fuck if I'm right or wrong, because no matter what bad happens to me in my life, even if, heaven forbid, the worst things on earth that could happen to me, I could never become clinically depressed, because I would never self-diagnose myself as clinically depressed, because I don't believe in it. I believe that I am currently sad, but I have work to do, and eventually I will feel better. I will never get to a point of absolute desperation and kill myself, because I'm never going to get to a point of hopelessness, because I don't believe in the idea of hopelessness. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong. I don't believe in it. That's it. End of story. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive, and I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. They're the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual. I don't know how I'd function in society. I think that life is very, very hard for a man. It was certainly very, very hard for me. I can't imagine having no mental resilience. I can't imagine being that fragile. I can't imagine being that offendable. I can't imagine believing there are systems which are going to oppress me and prevent me from ever becoming everything I want to be. I can't imagine being that way. If I were to try and absorb all those mentalities and then live a normal life, I don't think I can do it. There's a reason why these people end up on ADHD, anxiety, depression, and I get it, because it's just suicide. It's literally mental suicide.